Hey, it's Coach Reeves. Today we're graphing polynomials. Now we've watched a PowerPoint that gave us step-by-step directions, but we're going to do a couple of problems just to make sure that you understand what's going on. So let's look at number one. They're going to ask you for the type. The type is positive even, positive odd, negative even, negative odd. Remember how we did this? We're going to come in here and we have a little bitty exponent here, a little exponent here, and we have an exponent, but it's to the second power right there. So when you add those up, 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 2 is 4. There you're going to get an even. But look at your x's. This is a positive x times a positive 3x times a positive x. It's going to be a positive even for the type. Now when we have a positive even graph, even means they're going in the same direction. Positive tells you how we're going to finish. So my graph is going to end up starting up and finishing upward. Okay? They're going to ask you for your roots. To find the roots, you put your parentheses, after you've factored, you put your parentheses equal to 0. So we're going to say x plus 2 equals 0. We're going to say 3x minus 2 equals 0. We're going to say that x minus 3 equals 0. Okay? So my root, I'm going to go minus 2, x equals a negative 2. That's one of my roots, negative 2. We're going to go plus 2, 3x equals 2. We're going to divide by 3, and we're going to get x equals 2/3. There's another root, 2/3. We're going to go plus 3, x equals 3. There's my last root of 3. But this was squared. And remember, if it's squared, we're going to write this as an M2. Got it? Okay. They're going to ask you to find the Y-intercept. Let me clear this out. Let me show you how to find the Y-intercept. Let's get my eraser here. Okay. Now, to find your Y-intercept, we're going to substitute a 0 where the x is. Okay? So we're going to say y equals, we're going to put it 0 plus 2, 3 times 0. 3 times 0 is 0, so you're going to get 0 minus 2. And then you're going to get 0 minus 3 is a negative 3, but we're going to square it. So we put a 0 here, put a 0 there, which 3 times 0 is 0. We put a 0 here, but it's squared. This is going to give me 2 times negative 2 times negative 3 squared is a positive 9. So 2 times negative 2 is negative 4 times 9 is a negative 36. My y-intercept is going to be at 0, negative 36. Okay? So now I'm going to ask you to come over and graph it. Okay? Let's go here. We're going to pick up a blue. We're going to make this a little skinnier. Okay? And so we're going to put our roots. We have a root at negative 2. Now this will not be to scale. Remember that your graph does not have to be to scale. We're going to put a dot for for 2/3. We're going to put a dot, okay, a dot at 3. But we're going to write M2 just to remind us that it's an M2, okay? And then we're going to put a dot here at negative 36 for our y-intercept. So we know that our graph has to start up and finish up. Sometimes I like to go to my M2s or my M3s to make sure I do them correctly. So I'm going to go over here. Let's make sure this is narrow. Good. So my M2 says it is going to bounce off the x-axis. It's got to bounce off the x-axis just like this. Probably not the best graph. Okay, I need to start high, go through this point, go through that point, and it could look similar to that. Okay, I started high, I finished high, that makes it even, and the positive part means that we have to finish going upwards in a positive motion. Okay, there's how you would do number one. Let's try another one. Okay. All right, so here we're going to ask for the type. Okay, positive times a positive times a positive. This is going to give us a positive. Look at your exponents. 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So we're going to end up with positive odd. Positive odd. Now remember, odd means we're going in different directions. Okay? But this means we're going to finish positive. My graph has to look something like that. It has to start down and finish high. Let's find our roots. That x, this x in front, that's easy. We'll put x equal to 0. This next root, x plus 2 equals 0. But that's going to be cubed. That's going to be my M3. And then I have x minus 1. So this is already taken care of. This one, minus 2, x equals a negative 2. Plus 1, x equals 1. So my roots are 0, negative 2, but this is an M3, and my other root is a 1. So there are my roots. I need to find my y-intercept. How do you find your y-intercept? We substitute a 0. So we go to our problem, and you're going to put a 0. I can put a 0 in the front. I can put a 0 here, and I put a 0 here. Okay? Well, 0 minus 1 is a negative 1. 0 plus 2 is 2, but 2 cubed is 8. And then we're going to multiply times 0. And here's the thing. No matter what we get, we're going to multiply times 0. And what is 0 times anything? 0. So my y-intercept will be 0, 0, or the origin. So we come over here and plot some points so we can graph this. All right, we're going to put a dot at 0. Okay, there's that root. We're going to put a dot at negative 2. We're going to say that's M3. We're going to put a dot at positive 1. Okay, now remember, we have to start low and finish high because it is a positive odd. Let me change colors real quick, okay? So we're going to start low, finish high. But this is an M3, and that's going to have a little curve to it, a little whip to it, okay? So when we do this, I'm going to start low, and I'm going to get my curve. I'm going to go down, and I'm going to finish high. Now this doesn't have to be perfect when you do your M3, but it helps if you label it and let your teacher know and people that look at it know, oh, that's my attempt at a cubed or my M3 root. Okay? All right, so there we go. This is how we fill in our table. This is how we graph our polynomial. Okay, one more example. All right, so number 7. This one is not factored yet. It's not fully factored, so we need to factor this. This will turn into, this top parentheses, this trinomial will factor into x minus 1 minus 4. This next parentheses will factor into x minus 1, x minus 2. Let me go ahead and make this a little thinner. Okay? Good. All right. But notice you have two of these x minus 1s. So we're looking at x minus 1. Since there's two of them, we're going to say squared. There's my m2. X minus 4 and x minus 2. There's my equation, but there it is in factored form. Okay? So we're going to speed this up. We're going to find our type. Let's look what we have. This one's kind of easy if you go back to the original problem. This is positive and a positive, which means I'm going to stay positive. So I'm going to end up with a positive. And then I have x squared and x squared, so that's going to give me x to the 4th, which means we're going to be even. Positive even. And if we're positive even, that means I start upward and I finish upward. Okay? My roots, we're going to do this the quick way, okay? Because we've been doing a couple of problems. This is going to give me a 1, m2. This will give me a 4. This is going to give me a positive 2. I need to find my Y-intercept, okay? I need to find my Y-intercept, and my Y-intercept in this case is I'm going to put a 0 here. I'm going to put a 0 here, and I'm going to end up with a 4. I'm going to put a 0 here, I'm going to put a 0 here, and I'm going to end up with a 2, which 4 times 2 is 8. So my Y-intercept is going to be a positive 8. Okay? So let's go plot these points and graph this thing. I have a point at 1, and that's my M2. I have a point at 4, and I have a point at 2. My Y-intercept is at 8. Remember what our pattern was. Our type was positive even. We have to start upwards and we have to finish upwards. So when we graph this, okay, this is my M2. This is where it's going to bounce off the x-axis. So we're going to start high. Make sure this is red. We're going to start high. We're going to bounce and then go through the 2 and go through the 4. Something like that. We went through the Y-intercept. We have our M2, which bounced off the x-axis, and then it came back down through the 2 and through the 4. All right? Now again, your graphs don't have to be perfect, but this is going to be close. Okay? You have the right idea what's going on. There's 3 examples. Good luck. Let us know if you have some questions. Don't be afraid if you mess it up. We can talk about this. We can fix it. All right. Go get them.